Hello, welcome to Productions MJC. My name is Mark.
Well, today's subject is flat earth plane lie. Now, yeah, there's a lot of them. I'll touch on a few, but let me give you an example. The thing that I've learned, if we look at a plane, that's a British Tornado, they talk about level flight. Now, this plane is landing, and it is not level. The nose is pitched up a little bit. The trim has been set so the nose is up, and that doesn't just happen in landing or taking off. All planes, even though it's supposed level flight, it's not. Well, level flight on a plane, the nose is always up because a plane has a certain attitude, and it's always just a little bit up in the air. So if you look at this right here, now watch what happens. This line, this fence line right here is probably pretty level, right? And so's this plane. No, it isn't. This end is actually lower than this end by just a bit. The plane nose is pitched up and angled up just a bit. I'll show you. I am crossing the back end of that drop tank that's got extra fuel, and you can see the nose is up in the air. Well, what about this one? Yep, the line is even with the back, and it's angled up. The nose is pitched up just a bit in flight. It always will be, because the plane just doesn't travel straight like a laser beam. Most people who talk about planes don't know anything about planes. A plane actually goes forward and falls just a little bit, and goes forward and falls just a little bit. And the reason it is pitched up and angled up is because the plane gains in altitude just a little bit and then falls, and then gains and then falls as it moves forward. So when people talk about, well, a pilot doesn't have to nose the aircraft down as they go, you know what? You are right. They don't have to do that because it happens naturally. So if we look at other instances of examples, there's other plane lies. Like, here's the flat earth. In my last video, I talk about how the flat earth is imploding, and they don't want you to talk about this map, and this is the reason why. The flight time between Santiago, Chile and Sydney, Australia is the same as the flight time between Los Angeles and Hong Kong, China. Now on a globe, if you have a globe, take a piece of string and stretch it between these two cities, and you'll see that the string is almost identical length. But on a flat earth map, there's an obvious difference. And there's obvious differences elsewhere. Like, it's actually longer to fly from Auckland, New Zealand to LA than it is to go from Auckland to Santiago, Chile. On a flat earth, the shorter flight path has the longer flight time. Yeah, that doesn't work. The one big lie. They say that the curvature formula doesn't work, and there have been people trying to explain it in a very elaborate way. Why? No, you don't have to pitch the nose over to drop 8 inches. It happens naturally because I have never been on a level flight. I have taken commercial flights, and the nose is either pitched up or pitched down. The nose is never straight. The nose is never on a level flight path. The thing that I can't understand what people talk about, the thing that I find totally interesting is people lying about level flight. It's never level. And you know it. Think back to when you've been on a plane. The nose was either up or the nose was down. It was never flat. Because you know what happens when you reach flat? If that plane was not pitched up and angled up like that, it would hit the ground really hard. You know, there's not an instance where you can look out, even if you're in another plane, and you look over and see, military aircraft. I had an uncle who was military, and he worked for an Air Force base. And no plane flies in a level path. So the other big lie that flat earthers talk about is this level flight. It is never, ever level. The nose is always pitched up. St. Martin Island, you can go there and the nose is always pitched up. Whether it's landing, I mean, think about it. When a plane lands, long before this touchdown, the nose is still pitched up. The trim is set so that the plane will always be nose up or nose down. It is never laser beam perfectly flat. That's just a lie that the flat earthers want you to suck in. Now, I want you to think about that. I'm going to show other examples. Now, talking about level flight, if you look at certain things flying along, if the nose was down, the plane would slam into the ground. It has to have the cord has actually got to be a little bit up. Now, the faster you go, the less of an attack angle you need, but it still has to be nose up. No plane flies laser beam straight at all. What's interesting to me is I'm no genius. The problem is I am not educated in the traditional sense, over-educated to the point where I'm actually stupid, like a lot of these other folks are. I'm educated in common sense. When I see a plane land, when I go to the air show, yes, it's fast, but you can slow it down, and you can see that the plane's nose is angled up a little bit. I of course have the advantage of having a father-in-law who flew, who has a pilot's license, and level flight is a myth. That is one of the big lies. Let's look at some of the people who continually spread the lie that there is actually level flight. No such thing. No such thing. And if these people were really pilots, these people that claim to know something about, this guy goes on and on and on about altimeters and how they don't work, and it has to be flat, and he knows nothing about how an altimeter works. He knows nothing about how a plane flies, but he comes across as an expert. He's actually full of crap, but that, I just wanted to quickly touch base on something that seemed obvious to me, but I'm able to pick out those things. The more I think about them, the more I'm able to see, and I can't understand why other people can't see it. But then again, you take those, you've taken them, you've grabbed your app, and somebody in Facebook or something has said, hey, take this test and see, and my son and I get 100%. I can pick that stuff out. I know that it's actually angled up a little bit. I can pick it out. So, flat Earth, if you have to lie to prove a point, you don't have a point. And the truth is, there is no such thing as level flight. It is a myth in your face.
Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. This has been Mark with Productions MJC.